What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including why Cody actually competed with a separated pectoral last night, Cody could be out for months, Bray Wyatt teases a return again, John Cena teasing a Theory title challenge, WWE's misleading advertising strikes again, Rhea Ripley's wardrobe fail, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. And now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at Cody Rhodes news, as topping the news today is the devastating news that Cody Rhodes suffered a detached pectoral tendon. Now we have all the details, including why Cody wrestled at Hell in a Cell despite his injury, the backstage reaction to it, and Rhodes' current prognosis. Firstly, let's look at the real reason why Cody actually competed. Our fans are still trying to process the mind-blowing story of how Cody Rhodes competed in a Hell in a Cell match against Seth freaking Rollins despite suffering a torn right pectoral tendon 2 days before. Equally mind-blowing was how Cody worked a full match, taking some hard shots and big bumps, including going through a table and being whipped by Seth Rollins. A number of questions have come up, including number 1, was Cody really that injured? Number 2, how the WWE could clear him? And number 3, why Cody chose to wrestle? While there were some initial doubts whether Cody was in fact injured, a number of news sites are reporting that his injury is legit and is just as serious as the WWE revealed. Cody suffered a pectoral tear on 4th June during a weight training session, with the WWE reporting Cody's right pectoral tendon was torn off the bone. As for why WWE cleared him to wrestle, Wrestling News' Paul Davis reported a WWE source told WrestlingNews.co that he likely wouldn't have been cleared if it was a partial pec tear. However, since it was a complete tear, there was no more damage that could have been done to his pec. Davis also pointed out that Cody had the option not to do the match, and WWE officials would have come up with an alternative plan, but Cody was said to have insisted on going out there and the match went on as scheduled. The same report noted that the match was modified to deal with Cody's physical condition. We were told that there were some spots that were cut out of the match. Cody was going to do a moonsault, but the move and a couple of other spots were cut out. However, Cody tweeted exactly why he did it: for the love of the game. Fans in attendance got to hear Cody explain why he wrestled. Ringside News' Subjeet Mukherjee detailed Cody's promo after a fan tweeted a video of Cody in the cell. "It is solely my decision to compete with a torn pec. You would have had to literally kill me from staying away from the ring. 10 times out of 10, I'd have made the same decision. You guys that believed in me, from the bottom of the heart, I believe in you. We're all gonna finish this thing. Thank you all very much. I love you." An incredible display by Cody, and a reminder why the WWE Universe has embraced him since his return at WrestleMania 38. What was the backstage reaction to the match? And while the majority of wrestling fans who watched Cody vs Seth were blown away, how did WWE officials feel about the bout? According to WrestleVotes, I've had multiple sources reach out to me this morning with exemplary words for the performance Cody Rhodes put in last night. Credit to Seth Rollins as well. Those at Gorilla were said to have loved the match. A modern day, all-time classic Hell in a Cell that WWE will treat as much going forward. But that was the reaction. What about Cody Rhodes' prognosis? What is next for Cody now that he's finished the match? Well, Fightful Select is reporting that Rhodes is slated to undergo surgery to repair the torn pectoral muscle this Thursday. The question is how long he'll be out for. As we mentioned on our website, the recovery time from surgery for pectoral tears can vary on a number of factors, so it's difficult to say just when Cody will be back. A Wrestling News' Andrew Ravens noted that different recovery times for wrestlers who suffered a similar injury. Some other notable wrestlers that have suffered this time of injury include Triple H 5 months, Elias 5 months, and John Cena less than 4 months. At this point, it seems extremely unlikely that Rhodes will be able to wrestle at Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. There have been rumors going around that Cody would win this year's Money in the Bank, so WWE has had to change a lot of plans in this case. We here at Wrestlelamia send Cody our wishes for a fast and full recovery. Hopefully he should be back after SummerSlam. Next up, Bryan Danielson injury update. A bad news for Bryan Danielson is the current AEW star is reportedly dealing with a minor injury. According to a report from Figure 4 Online's Josh Nason, Danielson pulled out a Sunday meet and greet event in New Bedford, Massachusetts. According to a Fightful report, a staff member told a fan that Danielson was injured and unable to fly, which they independently verified. He added, Brian Alvarez said 2 sources provided the time frame and said that while Danielson was hurt in the aforementioned match, it doesn't appear to be anything serious. it's unknown what the injury is. The injury bug has been striking the wrestling world hard of late, as seen with the recent injuries to Adam Cole, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes and Bryan Danielson. It's an inevitable part of the sport of kings, but sometimes the timing is terrible, reminding fans of the adage, when it rains, it pours. Next up, what's next for Becky Lynch? Now, according to Dave Meltzer, Big Time Bex was supposed to wrestle Belair. As previously reported, Naomi was going to be Belair's Hell in a Cell opponent, but her and Sasha Banks' walkout led to a change of plans. However, based on Meltzer's recent comments on the Wrestling Observer Radio, Becky vs Bianca is still in the works, only it'll be a one-on-one match. I would figure that SummerSlam, Becky Lynch vs Bianca Belair, it was very clear that they were holding that match off for a while. I don't think they're going to wait for Mania because they don't have the depth probably to wait until Mania. But I figured they'd wait to SummerSlam for that, and that's why they didn't do it here. Are you guys interested in seeing Becky vs Bianca again? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, John Cena teasing Theory title challenge. Now, as fans debate whether Cena will be able to wrestle in the near future, the 16-time world champion continues to tease that he's got Theory in his sights should his schedule allow him to return. As previously reported, Cena made a TikTok video where he said Theory is the current superstar who's in need of an attitude adjustment the most. Now Cena has posted a photo of his Instagram of a boot, presumably Cena's, standing on the US title. Next up, Bray Wyatt teases a return again. Speaking of teases, is Bray Wyatt returning to the squared circle? Now, we've discussed Wyatt's seemingly endless hints of an in-ring return, and in fact just noted how he's changed his Twitter handle to Wyatt6. According to Wrestling News, Wyatt has some autograph signings coming up, including one on June 6th, something which could impede a WWE return. For anyone wondering about Bray Wyatt, he had an autograph signing today in New York. Here's another one scheduled for this coming Saturday, June 11th. While Wyatt has an autograph signing scheduled on June 6th and later this week, that doesn't preclude him from making a video appearance or perhaps even being flown in for an appearance. We think the best thing to do right now is to continue a wait and see attitude. Next up, WWE misleading advertising strikes again. Does the WWE advertise superstars only to pull them from shows? Now, we've discussed how the WWE has done this before, and while they can always go with its card subject to change without notice policy, there are plenty of stories of the WWE advertising talent they knew wouldn't appear. And now Meltzer is reporting on a situation that suggests the same thing happened with advertising for Ronda Rousey at this year's Hell in a Cell. They took Ronda off the show and she was advertised locally. They could have put her on, but as we talked about this morning, for whatever reason, the decision was made to hold that match off. They got to put a card together for Vegas, I guess, so maybe that's where they're going to do that, or who knows. The WWE has been booking things on a fly quite a bit recently, and this is likely only going to get worse as the company deals with an injured Cody Rhodes and whatever circumstances are keeping Roman Reigns off WWE's schedule for most of the summer. Next up, Happy Corbin Out. Is the WWE going to write Happy Corbin off television for a bit? Well, Meltzer thinks so and commented on the finish for the No Holds Barred match between Corbin and Madcap that saw Madcap wrap a chair around Corbin's neck, then drop steel steps onto his head. The thing is, that looked like an injury angle. He could be back next week. I looked at that and it's like, okay, he should be out for however long. A couple of weeks at least. One would think such a finish would lead to Corbin taking off time to sell the injury with an absence for 1 or 2 weeks and or Corbin wearing a neck brace. However, it sounds like the WWE isn't treating the injury too seriously, as they provided this kayfabe report on his condition. Happy Corbin was evaluated at a local medical facility on Sunday night and was released with a minor neck contusion. If nothing else, we hope that this marks the end of Corbin vs Madcap. And finally, Rhea Ripley's wardrobe fail. And last but not least, while the Judgment Day triumphed over AJ Styles, Finn Balor and Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley had an issue with her ring gear. The Nightmare tweeted, "When your ring gear doesn't arrive in time, you learn to utilize what you have." Now, Ripley isn't the first superstar who had to deal with the last minute wardrobe change, as we've covered in another video. But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.